Hi, I'm Aliyah Aziz, and you're watching A News Weekend. Here are the headlines. Ceasefire brings hope in Gaza. Red Cross retrieving first hostages from Hamas. Rescuers successfully brought down around 80 skiers who were trapped on a chairlift at the Astun ski resort in Spain. President-elect Donald Trump returns to Washington for pre-inauguration celebrations. The ceasefire deal agreed between Israel and Hamas in the Gaza Strip took effect at 11:15 a.m. local time on Sunday after a nearly 3-hour delay, pausing a 15-month conflict that has brought devastation to the Middle East. Israel blamed Hamas for the delay after the Palestinian militant group failed to provide a list of naming the first 3 hostages to be released under the deal. Hamas attributed the delay to technical reasons. Now, Red Cross retrieving first hostages from Hamas. The 3-stage ceasefire agreement followed months of negotiations brokered by Egypt, Qatar, and the United States. Its first stage will last 6 weeks, during which 33 of the remaining 98 hostages, women, children, men over 50, the ill and wounded, will be released in return for almost 2,000 Palestinian prisoners and detainees. The party of Israel's hardline National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir says his cabinet ministers quit Israel's government over a ceasefire deal. Pope Francis welcomes the Gaza ceasefire deal and hopes for the release of all hostages. This was stated during prayer at St. Peter's Square.
It has been announced recently that the Gaza ceasefire will take effect today. I express my gratitude to all the mediators. It's a good job to mediate for peace to be achieved. I thank the mediators and all the parties involved in this important result. I hope that when it has been agreed, it will be respected immediately by the parties and that all the hostages will finally be able to return home to embrace their loved ones. I pray so much for them, for their families. I also hope humanitarian aid will reach people of Gaza who need it so urgently. Both Israelis and Palestinians need clear signs of hope.
Humanitarian aid is set to enter the Gaza Strip as the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas takes effect. Egypt has confirmed the reopening of the Rafah border crossing, which will be a primary route for delivering essential supplies into the war-torn enclave. Trucks carrying humanitarian aid have lined up at the Rafah border crossing on Egypt's side, ready to enter Gaza as part of a ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas. Egypt's foreign minister confirmed that the Rafah crossing will be reopened to operate delivery of supplies, including food, water, and fuel. Over 600 truckloads of aid, including 50 trucks of fuel, are expected to enter Gaza daily. UN Secretary General Antonio Gutteres called on Israel to withdraw its forces from Lebanese territory during a press conference in Beirut on Saturday. Gutteres stressed the need for the Lebanese armed forces to take control of southern Lebanon. He also urged full implementation of UN Resolution 1701 to secure a lasting ceasefire between Lebanon and Israel, expressing confidence in the Hezbollah-Israel agreement. He also pledged ongoing UN support for Lebanon's reconstruction. On Gaza, Gutteres expressed hope for a ceasefire, humanitarian aid access, and hostage releases, though he acknowledged the challenges in delivering aid. The World Economic Forum has released the Global Risks Report, which lists 2025's highest risks. This comes as the annual gathering by the forum is set to kick off on Monday.
A World Economic Forum survey shows that armed conflict is the top risk in 2025, a reminder of the deepening global fragmentation as governments and business leaders attend the annual World Economic Forum in Davos. Nearly 1 in 4 of the more than 900 experts surveyed across academia, business, and policymaking ranked conflict, including wars and terrorism, as the most severe risk to economic growth for the year ahead. A global risk is defined by the survey as a condition that would negatively affect a significant portion of the global GDP, population, or natural resources. Extreme weather, the #1 concern of 2024, was the second-ranked danger. Over a 10-year horizon, environmental threats dominated experts' risk concerns, the survey showed. Global temperatures last year exceeded 1.5 degrees Celsius above the pre-industrial era for the first time, bringing the world closer to breaching the pledge governments made under the 2015 Paris Climate Agreement. Geo-economic confrontation, which includes sanctions and tariffs, ranked third on the list. The World Economic Forum meeting is set to kick off on January 20, and Donald Trump, who would be sworn in as the 47th President of the United States, will address the meeting virtually on January 23rd. Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky will attend the meeting and is expected to give a speech. Advisors to Trump concede that the Ukraine war will take months or even longer to resolve, a sharp reality check on his pledge to strike a peace deal on his first day in the White House. Topics on the agenda span mounting geopolitical and economic uncertainty, trade tensions, climate goals, and artificial intelligence. However, focus will be placed on Syria, the humanitarian situation in Gaza, and the political escalation of the conflict in the Middle East. As global leaders discuss the findings in the survey, they're expected to explore ways on how to prepare for an increasingly volatile global landscape.
Farmers gathered in Berlin to protest government agricultural policies, demanding a sustainable approach that prioritizes small farms over large corporations.
In Berlin, thousands of farmers came together to protest against the government's agricultural policies. They gathered in the front of the Bundestag, holding signs and calling for a more sustainable future for farming. The farmers want the government to focus more on helping small farms, not just big corporations. Antje Hollander, a farmer and a member of the Young Farmers Association, explained that small farms have been overlooked for years.
Large companies are making big profits, while small farms are struggling to survive and sometimes sell products for less than it costs to produce them.
The farmers are asking for a law that stops food from being sold for less than it costs to make. They also want to limit the power of big companies and supermarkets and make sure small farmers are treated fairly. Protesters indicated that they are against EU free trade policies, adding that they are in favor of protecting the rights of small farms. As the election on February 23 draws near, farmers hope their voices will be heard.
Rescuers in Huesca province successfully brought down around 80 skiers who were trapped on a chairlift at the Astun ski resort. A ski lift collapsed at the resort in the Spanish region of Aragon, injuring dozens of people. The regional government confirmed that 9 people sustained very serious injuries. Helicopters were deployed to aid in the rescue efforts and transport the injured to nearby hospitals. The cause of the cable failure that led to the accident remains unknown. Authorities continue their investigation into the accident. At least 60 people were killed and many more injured in northern Nigeria when a petrol tanker overturned and exploded in the Niger state. The Federal Road Safety Corps reports that the explosion has added to the growing toll of similar incidents in the country. The tanker accident resulted in an explosion after fuel was spilled onto the road. Most of the victims were residents, according to authorities, who rushed to collect the spilled petrol before the explosion occurred. The blast follows a similar incident in Jigawa State last October, where 147 people lost their lives. Just days before President-elect Donald Trump was set to take the oath of office on the steps of the U.S. Capitol, Monday's severe cold forecast compelled him to change plans.
Donald Trump announced that the U.S. presidential inaugural ceremonies will be moved indoors for the first time in 40 years. The inauguration address, prayers, and other speeches will be delivered inside the United States Capitol Rotunda. The last time an inauguration was moved indoors because of the bitter cold was in 1985 for former Republican President Ronald Reagan's second swearing in, when the afternoon wind chill fell into the range of -10 to -20 degrees Fahrenheit. The forecast for Washington on Monday puts temperatures at the time of Trump's swearing in at around 19 degrees Fahrenheit and will feel even colder with wind chill. According to Trump, his presidential parade would be moved to Capital One Arena, a sports venue in downtown Washington that holds 20,000 people. It was not immediately clear how a parade would be organized inside the sports venue.
President-elect Donald Trump returns to Washington for inauguration celebrations, starting with a rally and events despite freezing temperatures.
President-elect Donald Trump arrived in Washington on Saturday for pre-inauguration celebrations amid record cold. After landing at Dulles Airport, he traveled to his golf club in Sterling, Virginia. Trump flew from Palm Beach, Florida, where he prepared for the transition after defeating Vice President Kamala Harris in the November election. His wife Melania, daughter Ivanka, and son-in-law Jared Kushner accompanied him. Trump plans to hold a rally at the Capital One Arena on Sunday and post-inauguration event on Monday.
Fires broke out in a migrant camp in northern Mexico as a group of refugees tried to avoid arrest during a night operation by government forces to clear the site.
Migrants in Mexico's northern city of Chihuahua set fire to their blankets and mattresses in an attempt to avoid a raid by government forces. About 250 Mexican officials, including National Guard military police in anti-riot gear, surrounded the encampment at midnight. A migration official says the goal of the operation was to bring the migrants to Mexico's southern border, where they would be told to return to their home countries. The migrants tried to slip out carrying babies and their belongings.
The police arrived with the migration. We got to the shelter today. Unfortunately, all this is happening. We don't know what is happening and we are disoriented. We are here. We are scared.
The National Guard, immigration and police arrived.
They came to us at
Practically midnight.
12:30 midnight. They came to us.
And they surrounded the camp and places where we were at. They asked to simply talk, that they were going to do an inspection and all of that.
Supposedly, they were gonna check the children.
Tell me, is it logical to come with this whole police and military force, supposedly to do an inspection at a camp, when they could do it during the day? Days ago, the police came and did a census.
Hey, they're coming. They're coming.
This enforcement action near the United States border comes as U.S. President-elect Donald Trump is set to be inaugurated on Monday. He's accused Mexico's government of not doing enough to curb migration into the United States and threatened sweeping tariffs. Though it is not clear how many people were detained, no deaths or injuries were reported in the blaze, which was extinguished in under an hour.
The U.S. Supreme Court upheld the TikTok ban in the United States, blocking the app for 170 million users since Sunday. The court ruled that the law does not violate free speech rights, siding with U.S. national security concerns over the app's ownership by Chinese company ByteDance. TikTok stopped working in the United States late on Saturday and disappeared from Apple and Google App stores ahead of a law that takes effect on Sunday, requiring the shutdown of the platform used by 170 million Americans. Earlier, White House officials stated they would not enforce the ban and will leave the decision to President-elect Donald Trump. During his campaign, Trump pledged to save TikTok, and his team is exploring options to delay the ban or keep the app. Meanwhile, TikTok's CEO has thanked President-elect Donald Trump for his support in the fight to keep the popular app alive in the U.S.
TikTok's CEO, Shou Chu, expressed his gratitude to President-elect Trump after the U.S. Supreme Court upheld a law that mandates the app's Chinese parent company, ByteDance, to either sell TikTok or shut it down in the U.S. by January 19th. In a video message, Chu thanked Trump for his efforts to find a solution to keep TikTok operational.
As you know, We have been fighting to protect the constitutional right to free speech for the more than 170 million Americans who use our platform every day to connect, create, discover, and achieve their dreams. On behalf of everyone at TikTok and all our users across the country, I want to thank President Trump for his commitment to work with us to find a solution that keeps TikTok available in the United States.
As the future of TikTok in the US hangs in the balance, Chu directly addressed the platform's 170 million American users, pledging to fight for their right to continue using the app. Chu's message highlights TikTok's role in the lives of millions of creators, small businesses, and everyday users. But for now, the clock is ticking, and the app's future in America remains uncertain as decisions rest with incoming leadership.
BP Azerbaijan has restarted production at Shah Deniz Alpha facility after resolving technical issues that previously halted operations. The shutdown had significant ripple effects, cutting off supplies of Azerbaijani gas to Bulgaria and Serbia.
BP Azerbaijan has resumed production at the Shah Deniz Alpha facility after resolving technical issues that had halted operations earlier this month. In an exclusive statement to A News, BP's area production manager for Shah Deniz, James Dunbar, confirmed the restart and emphasized that all technical challenges have been addressed.
BP, as the operator of the Shah Deniz gas condensate field, are pleased to report that we have been able to restart production from our Shah Deniz Alpha facility. The technical issue that was observed with the gas condensate export pipeline has now been fully and safely resolved. We look forward to continuing our ramp-up and return to full production over the next few days. We'll continue to work with SOCAR and our government partners and the rest of the partners over this period as we look forward to restoring full production.
The disruption had ripple effects across Europe. Earlier, Azerbaijan has temporarily suspended its contracted natural gas supply to Bulgaria and Serbia. The interruption stemmed from a technical issue at BP's Alpha platform in the Shah Deniz gas field. BP Azerbaijan confirmed the shutdown of operations, citing problems in the underwater condensate pipeline connecting the Alpha platform to the Sangachal terminal, and stated that all necessary work is underway to restore the operations at the Alpha platform. During the outage, Bulgaria relied on alternative gas supplies from Turkey's BOTAS, preventing market disruptions or additional costs. The Shah Deniz gas field is a critical hub for Europe's energy supply, and its operations are now fully restored, reinforcing its role in the regional network.
Iran unveiled what state TV said was an underground naval missile base at an undisclosed Gulf location. State TV showed Revolutionary Guards Chief General Hossein Salami visiting a secret underground base during war games. The base, located 500 meters deep in the Gulf, houses radar-evading speedboats equipped with cruise missiles. Iran also began 2 months of military exercises earlier this month. The Bayraktar TB3 UCav, which recently made history by taking off and landing on a short runway vessel, has now reached another major milestone by starting munitions integration tests.
The Bayraktar TB3 UCav, equipped with Roketsan MAMT munitions, successfully completed its first strike using Aselsan's Aselflir 500 electro-optical reconnaissance, surveillance and targeting system, hitting its target with precision. The aircraft, an indigenous BAAR product, continues its payload and munitions integration tests as part of its development process. On November 19, 2024, the Bayraktar TB3 took off from TCG Anadolu's short runway with a 12-degree ramp, marking a global first with an unsupported landing after a 46-minute test flight over the Aegean and Mediterranean. It repeated the feat during sea trials near Çanakkale. The UCav has completed 887 hours and 23 minutes of flight time, including a 32-hour 5,700-kilometer long-range test on December 20, 2023.
The International Circus Festival in Monaco shows incredible performances from talented circus artists worldwide.
47th International Circus Festival of Monte Carlo has kicked off in Monaco. This 2025 edition was attended by the festival's president, Princess Stephanie of Monaco, along with her daughter, Camille Gottlieb. Each year, circus artists from around the world gather in Monaco, vying for prestigious awards. This year's performance include the aerial acrobatic pair Duo Luna, the Scandinavian BAAR's group known for their dynamic bounding acts, and Ukrainian artist Dmytro Onishchenko. The Monaco royal family has a history of supporting circus arts. The festival was founded in 1974 by Prince Rainer III of Monaco and has become a celebrated event ever since. For this year, the Circus Festival plans to run until January 26.
That's all we have for now from Baku. Thank you for tuning in and keep watching A News.